right, welcome back to the Breakfast Connect show on Africa Business Radio. It's Media Wednesday, and because it's Media Wednesday, we're talking something that concerns the performance of your business based on the role media has to play. And by that, I mean digital content creation. And we'll have someone very, 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 very suitable to tell us more on, the art of digital content creation. Well, joining me in the studio right now is a very, very interesting person. She is a content creator, an award-winning social media influencer. She's a blogger, a YouTuber, a makeup artist. She is also a fashion consultant, a stylist, and a realtor. I've got Joyce Agwu in the studio with me. Hello, Joyce. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you so much.
All right, so let's start with how your journey started. How was it all for you in the beginning? How did you get here? How did you start?
Okay, it's been ups and downs. It's not been easy, actually, because it's not just about the journey for me. It's about the reaction of family, the reaction of friends. At some point, it felt like I was battling against not just the fight to succeed, but the fight to actually get approval from the people that I loved the most, because it just seemed like I was struggling. But at this point, I think they have actually come to terms with it, and that's something that I would like to tell everybody. I hear people say, oh, their parents were against them doing this, were against them doing that. I think what you need to do is just keep doing it. They'll get tired. They can call you names. They can say you're a disappointment. Because my parents wanted me to be a medical doctor, actually, because I studied anatomy and I was supposed to further into medicine. And it felt really crazy for me that, I had to struggle because I really wanted the approval of my parents. And that's something I'm going to say. So when you're on your journey, just forget about the approval. Yeah, just do what's best and make sure that you're on the right path for yourself and stay sane, because that's very important. So I would say my journey started as a model when I was in 100 level in university. So I've always been this type of person who always wants to be independent. I always wanted, to soar high. And I think in my 100 level, I was like, you know what? I need to do something to earn money. I don't just want to be in school. I just don't want to stay studying, because that wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to be, a billionaire at 30, 40, you get what I mean? So I was like, I had to start now. And I felt that I have always loved fashion. I've always loved beauty from when I was like a little kid. I always go for fashion shows. I always go for, just everything that relates with fashion, beauty, and everything. I've competed in a couple, both in secondary school and all of that. So that was like my forte. I was social perfect, and it was just something that I was so good at. It came so naturally, even though everybody just saw, okay, this smart girl, you're smart, you get your scores, you're an A student and everything. But for me, it wasn't hard work to, look pretty, because it gave me satisfaction, taking pictures, doing videos, just really gave me joy. I could be hungry and have a photo shoot, and I wouldn't even remember that I haven't had anything to eat. So it was just really beautiful that I think me and my friends then in my hostel, we were like, okay, yeah, that's true. This modeling thing is, it's in vogue right now. Let's check it out. And we got into one agency, and when I got into the agency, it was like I was handpicked, because I was now taking, to Port Harcourt, to Calabar, to actually model the jewelries, the clothes, and I was just 16, and they didn't even know I was 16, because I acted so, it wasn't like acting, but because I was so natural, it was so easy to think that I was older. And that was it for me. I was like, you know what? This is it. I just love this. And at that time, they were like, you have to take JAMB again to get medicine because you got anatomy. And I was like, we're not doing this again. We're not doing this, because I think that I have found what I'm actually really in love with. I wanted to do medicine because that was all I knew at the time. And, when your mom is a doctor, Now she's a professor. I love her. Like, oh, I got my energy from her. I just hope she knows that, because a lot of people say I look so much like her and I act so much like her, because she has this whole jovial thing with her, and she's fashionable as well. So yeah, I got it from her. So mommy, I got it from you. Okay, so that was just it for me. I was like, you know what, this is something I really love, because we would have photo shoots and maybe the other girls would be like, oh, you know, they're tired, they can't do it, okay, they can't travel to this place. But me, I was like, you know what, if you want me to travel today for that shoot, I'm gonna be there. If you want me to do the shoot from morning to night, I'm gonna be there. If I'm gonna have to wear heels the whole day, I don't mind. I just really, really loved it. And I knew that this was it for me. And then I was like, you know what, why don't I start designing my own pieces? Because I just always had these ideas in my head. I used to draw sometimes. So I would draw my ideas, and then I'll take it to my tailor. And my friend that was my tailor at the time, she made this outfit I'm wearing right now. Like, it's such a long time and we're still friends and everything, and she still designs my outfits. Because I've not gotten myself to actually go to learn how to make outfits, because I think there's a lot that I have to do, and I won't be doing that right now. Maybe in the future we can pursue that, but right now we're not going to be doing that for now. So at that time I would take my designs to her, and then she would make it. And I was like, you know what, I want to have a specific thing that they know me about. I really love lace. I'm this type of person that I love luxury, you know, even if it's going to be simple, even if it's cheap, because I'm not going to say affordable, because I'm talking about cheap. Like, even if it's cheap, it has to look luxurious. Like, I don't care how you want to do it, but make sure that you give a to it and make it look better. So I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do the regular designs that people do, you know, just sew with Ankara. I love Ankara as well, but just sew Ankara and that's it. I said, okay, you know what, everything I'm going to do is going to be lace. And lace at the time was one of the most expensive fabrics you could get. So I was like, you know what, let's do lace. Let's do lace, because that's, everything I do is luxury and I love luxury. So let's do lace. And we were doing, you know, skirts, gowns. People loved it. They wanted more and more and more and more. But at some point, I figured that my friend, you know, as I was growing, she was growing as well. So she probably, you know, had to handle most of her customers and couldn't handle mine. And I think I couldn't always have to be there, because I needed to be there to tell her, oh, let's do it like this. Let's do it like that. Let's do it like this. And it was taking both our times. And one customer, I think I sent her item to her and she was like, oh, she didn't like it. She was this. And I think that was it for me. I was like, oh my God, I want to make sure I satisfy my customers. I don't want them to feel that I'm not giving them what they want. But I'm just going to give this advice right now. Sometimes don't let one person's review make you back out. You can improve on it, not back down. So I backed down then. I was like, you know what, I can't do this because I can't sew right now, and my friend has a lot of things she's going to be doing, so I don't want to bother her, you know. It wasn't like she was saying she wouldn't be doing it, but I just couldn't bother her, because I've said it before, like, I love to be independent. So independent in all sense of it. So I didn't want to disturb her in anything. And I said, okay, you know what? Let's do this. Let's try to go to a bar, you know, and see if we'll get sauce for lace outfits. And then I went, and then I realized that it was good, yeah, but it wasn't what my taste was. But I said, okay, let's try. So I bought a couple of those lace outfits and I sold them and sold them and sold them, and they were good. Business was moving fine. I would go to a bar, come back, sell, and it was really nice. But then there was one thing I realized, you know, there's something about financial management. So I realized that when I was making those sales, I would spend them right away. And that's another advice for you guys. When you're making money for your business, just assume that business money is not yours. It's the business's money, not your own. And that's the only way to grow, because if you always want to ball right now, you're going to be poor forever. So I was like, you know what? This is not working, because like, what? Like, I'm making so much, but I'm still broke. And I was like, nah. No, we can't do this. That's another lesson. There's something I realized, and I'm using it right now to learn and keep on moving forward. Every single time you face a hurdle, don't stop, improve. Don't just kill it. So what happened then? I was like, okay, you know what? Let's just leave this right now. I don't think I'm ready for it, because I also had school things. Just remember that I also had school things to handle. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let's put this aside for now. You know, in future we can, you know, when we've made a name and everything, we can now go into the market and continue doing that. And the next thing, I was like, you know what? I love to write about fashion, because I used to write on Facebook and, you know, social media. I just used to write about fashion freely. And somebody sent me a message, Express Africa Mag, and he was like, you know what? Why don't you write for my blog? And why don't you write for my magazine? I was like, sure, no problem. And then I wrote, I think, a couple, and he was like, beautiful. And then he taught me how to, thank you so much, because right now that's the reason why I'm able to run my own blog. So he taught me how to, you know, use WordPress. He taught me how to put out the posts, you know, how to put in the images and all of that, and how to assemble everything. And we started doing that. And I think he moved on to do Gravity Media right now, so check him out as well. So he's doing Gravity Media, because, you know, we all have to evolve, and I'm really grateful, because right now that's why I have my own blog. So after he moved on, I was like, you know what, I need to have my own blog. And then I asked a friend of mine, you know what, do you know how to get a website and everything? And he said, okay, yeah, we can do that for you. And that's how I paid for my domain name. That was jceline.com at the time, but now it's Joyce Agwu, because I want everything to be Joyce Agwu. I was like, why am I Englishizing everything? Sorry, I know that's not a word, but let's, you know, we have taken so much of the foreign things and English things. Why don't we just naturalize being proud of our native names and everything? So I was like, you know what, my website's going to be joyceagwu.com, not jceline, even though that's what my brand name used to be. So we started, I started putting out beauty, fashion content, and then I started getting brands send me messages. Okay, you know what, write about my brand, you know. And they were paying me. I was like, ooh, this is nice. But I was doing it for fun. That was the only venture that I was like, you know, I'm not doing it for money right now. I just want to put out the content I've always been putting out on Facebook. Let's now put it on my own website, you know. And that's how we evolved to Instagram. I started seeing a lot of people, you know, Dimume. Started seeing a few fashion persons and beauty creators. And I was like, you know what, I can do this. My phone can take pictures, right? And if I write about it, why don't I create my own content instead of just taking people's content and then putting words to it? And then I started doing that. It wasn't great at first, because to me, I wanted the content to always be better. But other people were like, wow, you're doing so nice. I was like, okay. I worked with a couple of brands, and we just kept on evolving. And how I even got into real estate was, I think one of the real estate agencies owns a blog as well, so they wanted to do an interview for me. So they did an interview for me, and or is it for me or with me? So they did an interview with me, and next thing he was like, oh, you have a large following, why don't you just use that to advertise some of the projects that I have? I was like, okay, why not, let's do that. And then after that, another agency was like, you know what, let's do this. And that was luxury, like it was we sell luxury houses in Lekki, and I was like, good, now this is what I want, luxury. So let's do this. And that's how I work with Jason Button Realty right now, and it's just been, you know, evolving.
Oh, interesting. So you have a medical background, yeah. You had a BSc in anatomy, and you've worked with a couple of health institutions, one of them being the Ebonyi State Health Insurance Agency. And here you are in the fashion industry. You got yourself in the fashion space. Tell us, how has the digital landscape contributed to your success?
Okay, so this is going to look like I like to tell a lot of stories, but during the pandemic, I was actually really sick. So previously, I think the last year before coronavirus and everything, I thought I added so much weight. So I wanted to lose weight. And I started taking apple cider vinegar. And I don't know if I wasn't taking it right, but it burnt my throat, So I wasn't able to eat for months. But funny enough, even while that was happening, I was still, putting out YouTube content. A lot of people tell me, were you really sick? Because we didn't even know. Because casually on Instagram, when I was put on drip, I actually took a picture. I was like, wow, like this is happening to me. I'm not able to eat. I'm mostly out of energy and I'm still doing this. So, for the pandemic, it just taught me that, you can do more than you actually believe you can, because I was sick. Remember, and I was also scared that it was coronavirus, but of course it wasn't, because it wouldn't have lasted that long. I was so sick. I was worried. I was practically, let's just say, depressed, because I felt like I could do more with the time and I was now sick, you get. But I was still doing something, which means that, the limitation was actually just in my mind. And I think that's how it is for a lot of us. We just assume that, if we have a certain situation, we should keep on pondering upon it, getting sad, feeling bad for ourselves, saying, oh, this coronavirus, and, we can't create content, we can't do this. But I saw content creators, that thing called fashion. She was putting out content back to back while we were in a pandemic in her house. She found a way to make it work for her. And I think midway, when I started getting better, still during the pandemic, I had to get motivation from her. I was like, you know what? This lady's putting out content. People are still watching. I was like, okay, because of Corona, maybe a lot of people wouldn't be watching, wouldn't be listening, wouldn't be, checking out my blog. But people were actually checking out the post and the content that a lot of creators were actually putting out during the pandemic. And I was like, you know what? I think people are actually looking for content to keep themselves busy. The way you're feeling bad, another person is actually looking for succor. They're looking for a place to tap that energy to keep on moving forward, to not feel like the world was going to end. So you know what? I just said, let's just keep putting out content that I just loved. So I set up my room. And I was putting out, doing makeup videos, also once in a while, I'll just put out motivation. Once in a while, I'll just put out fashion content, trying out new outfits for when the pandemic is over and everything. I was putting out a post on my website. I was just, I just decided to just go with the flow. And I realized that was not just therapeutic for people who were watching my videos and, for people who were reading. It was therapeutic for me as well, because the more you're busy, the less likely you are to ponder about all the bad things you think are happening. And that's just basically it. And a lot of people actually told me within that period that they loved that I was able to put out content for them. And so I'm just going to tell content creators out there that, are budding or that are actually, at their zenith right now. People are watching you and they tap from your energy. So don't stop, even if you feel like, your energy is not good at the time. They can relate to you. I realized there was a post where I posted about me being sick and everything, and people really related. They were like, sorry. And they were telling their own experience. And that way, you guys lean on each other. And so, yeah, that's just it. It's like a community feel. So I felt like my content actually still made a difference during the pandemic. And it also helped me because I love what I'm doing.
So what was growing up like for you? Did you think that you would be in the spotlight doing what you're doing now? Did you see this, say, way back when you didn't have so much going on? Did you see yourself here?
The truth is, I've always been in the spotlight because, I don't come into a space without getting people to turn and say, who is this person? Who's this girl? Who's this young girl? So that's the type of person I've always been. They used to call me Baza Queen because if I step into the classroom, you're going to know that Joyce entered the space, because that's just naturally who I am. And I'm not a shy person. I know that maybe sometimes you can be anxious and everything, but I'm never a shy person. So when I step out, you are going to see me. You will know that I'm there. And I make sure that I always contribute to whatever is happening. If it's class action, I'm always answering questions. I don't even care if I fail. If I fail and you laugh at me, I don't really take it to heart, because I felt like, you know what, I've learned in the process. So if there's like, you know, a performance, a drama, I'm always there. During birthday parties, I'm always coming out. And that was thanks to my mom. Even though right now she says that she wished she didn't do that maybe I would have become a medical doctor and not, you know, started doing fashion and all of that. Because my mom was the type of person to dress me up. She wanted to make sure that when her daughter steps out, people see that that's her daughter. So she always dressed me up. She always told me, okay, go and dance. You know, when people are like bringing out their children, some people are telling their children to sit back. She was like, go out there. When we want to do something, let's say they call my parents to say something on the stage. I was so young, but my dad would tell me, go and take the microphone. You know, go and do that. No, go and represent us. I was like, at the time, I was feeling like, why are you guys putting so much of this responsibility on my shoulder right now? But right now, I have met certain people. Like, I've met so many influential people and governors, because my mom actually worked with she has worked with our governor from Ebonyi State and also the one in Enugu State. And I've met these people, and I never felt fear for once. You know, you could see these people and you're like, oh my God, I'm in the presence of this person. But then what they were doing while I was young made me realize that everybody deserved equal respect. You know, of course, this person is the governor. You give the person the extra, but it doesn't make me feel any less of myself, and it doesn't shut me out. And if I could go on stage where people who could judge me for being a little girl who would probably misspell something or misspeak or not know how to put her words together, if I could do that, I felt like I could do anything. So I was always on stage. I was always out there speaking. If I was in the house and someone came and, you know, they'll tell me, go out, go and do this, go and talk, and they never told me, oh, sit back, do this. My mom would always take me everywhere she's going to. My dad would always take me everywhere. They always wanted me around. So even if it was a big person, even if it was a small person, I was always out there. So I never felt like I needed to go back. So I didn't expect to be what I am right now. Do you understand? But I knew that I would never be in the shadows, because I have always been in the light. My parents have always put me in the light. And right now, I really want them to be proud, because maybe I'm not the doctor they expect me to be, but I've told them that if it means, you know, making the money to build the hospitals, I will do that. But they made me the confident, independent person I am. And so in school that time, you know, their parents will come and, you know, take them to get their results. But it was like my parents were so sure that I would do well that they would tell me to go get my result myself and bring it to them. And I was so proud because my results were always good. So I would just go get it, proudly come to them and give my dad. And my dad, I'm sure he always told a lot of his friends about his daughter's results and everything. So it was just something. I never expected to be where I am today. Yes. But I knew that I was never going to be ordinary. And I never allow anybody give me no for an answer. That's just it.
All right. So before I let you go, before we wrap up the conversation now, the fashion industry is very saturated. The competition is out of this world. So how has it been like as a woman thriving in this industry?
Okay. I'm going to start with saying that the truth is this. I know that we want to. I would say I'm a feminist, but I don't stand with some of the things that I hear, you know. But I've come to understand feminism for myself, you know. So I'm just going to say this: we are not going to change the fact that, you know, we have had men raised to believe that the world is theirs. Do you understand? So we have to make sure that when you are doing what you're doing, you try to be good at what you're doing. Try to keep on learning. Try to keep on being good. Because if you make a mistake, there's actually more chance that you're going to get more backlash than a man. In a field where they believe a man should be better. You understand? So for me, what I have understood is that it's never easy to take your own stance, but it's easier to take your own stance when you know your onions. If you know what you are about, you know what you're good at, no matter what happens, they would always come back, to tell you, come and do this job. I don't struggle. I used to struggle so much to, try to make them see, no. What I now do is I just keep on doing what I'm doing. At the end, they'll still come back and be like, okay, can we work together? Can we do this? Can we make this work? And that's what happens. So the thing is, focus more on, getting better at your craft. Making sure that when you stand out, you really stand out. That they have no choice. They have no choice but to actually pay attention and say, okay, this is the person for the job. Because I see a lot of people say, oh, let's fight for women, let's fight for women, let's fight for women. The truth is that some of these women are not really interested in actually being good at what they just want to be, given, they just want to be handed out things. And I'm a woman. Sorry, I'm not trying to say, that we don't have hardworking women, but a lot of women want things handed out to them. But I'm advising us today that, it's best to be good at what you're doing. So that when you are trying to tell them, see, this is what I do, this is what I do, they see you and you're like, okay, yeah, we can see it. We're not trying to, argue. We're not trying to, we're not trying to fight about it. They would see clearly that you're good at what you do. And this is something that I know I'm going to be referencing my family so much because, that's where I was formed. I used to see my mom, when she was a resident doctor. She would come back crying. And I would wonder why she was crying. Later on, I realized that she was, ARD president. And they were trying to suppress her because they felt she was a woman, and they wanted to make sure that everything they wanted was what she would do. But this is somebody who was so good. I can't count how many times she would be on call. In fact, she would even be on call for her superiors. She was so good. You could clearly see it. And even when people were trying to set her up, they tried to set my mother up a lot. And I could, you would hear it, you would see the calls, you would see people coming but then they couldn't because she was so good at what she was doing. She's a gynecologist. So she was so good at that. People used to say that when a woman is pregnant and maybe the woman is bleeding and maybe the carrier, how Nigeria is sometimes, the carrier is not there to carry the woman. My mom would literally lift the woman and run to the theater to make sure that surgery is done. So when people see things like that, the extra effort, when they see that, look, you're good at what you're doing, there's nothing they can do about it. And my mom used to say, every time, be at your peak and always stand with integrity. That's something that keeps hitting my head. If you always do that, even when people try to set you up, because that's what I notice happens. So what will happen is if you're fighting as a woman, if you're trying to be ambitious, they look for a loophole, they look for a skeleton, or they look for something that, oh, you're not good, you're actually not very good at what you're doing. And then that's how they put you down. But if you are always on the right path, to the best of your ability, because, sometimes we slip or you do things that you don't even know, or, they set you up and you don't even know that that's what's happening. But if you are consciously trying not to put yourself in that position, you would just keep on moving. So don't try to, just say, oh, give women. I hear people say, okay, give more women positions. But are some women actually wanting those positions? Some of them don't even want it. So the first thing we should actually do is educate ourselves to actually decide to want, and not just wanting it for wanting's sake, working towards it. Because I see a lot of women that just want certain things. They just want a position in the office. They're not even good at it. So what they now do is, you're not giving a woman the position, but of course there are some exceptions where the women are actually good and they don't give them those jobs. But you would see that, let's say 3 out of 10, the women don't actually even know what they're doing. And they just fight to say, okay, let's include a woman. And I see it a lot of times where, okay, let's give, this quarter, let's say there are 40 employees. Let's make sure that 20 are women. But you find out that when you now put the 20 women, if they're not effective, if you now lay them off, it now look like, you don't want to give them the job. So I would just advise that women focus on being good at what you're doing. Just focus on being good at what you're doing. Don't try to struggle. Don't put that energy that you should be putting into improving, into fighting to be there. Because when you improve and then you're good at what you're doing, your work would fight for you. That's just it.
All right, Joyce, you are doing a whole lot. It's very, very impressive. You have so much going on. And I'm sure that a lot of persons might want to check you out on social media or even get in touch with you to, know what your services are like. How can we get across to you on social media?
Okay. You can reach me on Instagram at Joyce Agwu. Joyce Agwu, so you don't mistake it. You can also check me out on my blog. You can send me a message there as well. JoyceAgwu.com, the same spelling. You can check me out on Twitter, Jaceline_. That is JAYCELINE_. And you can check my property page as well if you want to get luxury properties. Actually, if you also want to get any property at all in Nigeria, I can link you up to somebody, truth be told. You can check me out on Jaceline Properties, on Instagram as well. That is it. My YouTube as well. I put out beautiful fashion, beauty and lifestyle content there. I do tutorials as well that would help you. You can check that out, Joyce Agwu, as well on YouTube. Still the same spelling, JoyceAgwu.
Nice. So if you're just joining us, I've been talking with Joyce Agwu. She is a content creator, an award-winning social media influencer. She's a blogger, a YouTuber. She's a makeup artist, a fashion consultant, a stylist, and a realtor. And we've been talking the art of digital content creation. Thank you so much, Joyce, for joining me on the show today. I hope to have you some other time.